Huawei Mate 80 Pro Max lands with serious presence, and right away the first thing that grabs attention is that massive 6.9-inch LTPO OLED display with a peak brightness hitting up to 8000 nits, pushing 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, and HDR Vivid support for punchy, smooth visuals. This is a phone released in November 2025, packed in a slim 8.3mm aluminum alloy frame coming in at 239 grams, and it runs HarmonyOS 6.0 with storage options of 512GB or 1TB paired with 16GB RAM. If you're into high-end flagship hardware, dual nano SIM support, and a build rated IP68 and IP69 for dust and water resistance with protection up to 6 meters for 30 minutes, this one is built like a premium tank. Subscribe and like. Now what inspires confidence here is that Huawei didn't just stop at durability, they doubled down with Huawei Kunlun Glass 2 protecting the front. That display resolution sits at 1320 by 2848 and pushes around 455 pixels per inch, making text and detail crisp at any angle. The overall screen-to-body ratio is about 90.2%, so you're basically holding a slab of immersive visuals. Inside, the Kirin 9030 Pro chipset on a 6nm architecture handles the workload, with a 9-core CPU setup broken into one core clocking at 2.75 GHz, 4 at 2.27 GHz, and another 4 at 1.72 GHz. This gives a blend of performance and efficiency, while the Maliun 935 GPU handles graphic demands. The storage doesn't include a card slot, so the onboard 512GB or 1TB is what you ride with, paired with 16GB RAM to keep everything responsive. Now the real camera hardware is where this device starts flexing even louder. You're looking at a quad-rear setup built around a 50MP wide lens with an aperture range from f1.4 to f4.0, plus optical stabilization and PDAF, backed by another 50MP periscope telephoto at 91mm with 4x optical zoom, PDAF, and OIS. There's another 50MP periscope telephoto at 140mm giving 6.2x optical zoom, and a 40MP 13mm ultrawide with PDAF. Features like laser autofocus, a color spectrum sensor, panorama, HDR, and LED flash are packed in for versatile shooting. Video capability step up too, offering 4K recording, 1080p at up to 960 frames per second slow motion, HDR, gyroscope EIS, optical stabilization, and HDR Vivid for polished output in motion capture. This is clearly targeted at users who want flexibility in telephoto range, detail, and stabilization without compromises. Flip to the front, and you're working with a 13MP ultrawide selfie lens at 18mm with autofocus, backed by a TOF 3D depth and biometric sensor. The front camera features HDR and panorama support while recording reaches 4K or 1080p with gyroscope EIS and HDR. It keeps that imaging lineup complete for video calls, vlogging, and photography. Sound matters too, and the Mate 80 Pro Max delivers stereo speakers with high-definition audio, although there's no 3.5mm jack here, so USB Type-C becomes your route. There's Wi-Fi support from 802.11 all the way to Wi-Fi 7, plus dual-band and Wi-Fi Direct. Bluetooth 6.0 is here with A2DP, LE, and L2HC. For positioning you get a wide variety including GPS, GLONASS, BDS, Galileo, QZSS, and NAV-IC. Connectivity stays wide with NFC, infrared, no radio, and USB Type-C 3.1 supporting OTG and DisplayPort 1.2 for external output. Sensors include Face ID, side-mounted fingerprint reader, accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity, barometer, and compass, plus BDS satellite calling and messaging available in China. The whole device runs HarmonyOS 6.0 out the box for an ecosystem-driven experience. Powering everything is a 6000 mAh battery with 100W wired charging, 80W wireless, 20W reverse wireless, and 18W reverse wired. In the color department you get black, silver, blue, and gold, and the model number is SGT-AL10 with pricing around €980 at launch. For those who want a long-lasting phone with flagship hardware, charging flexibility, and peak brightness rarely seen in mobile screens, this is one to examine closely. When you add everything up, from that bright 6.9-inch OLED display, powerful Kirin 9030 Pro chipset, quad 50MP camera setup with big zoom range, 6000 mAh power capacity, and charging versatility, Mate 80 Pro Max stands like a device for users wanting screen quality, imaging strength, and battery endurance in one build. Subscribe and like.